Okay, here's my intro. Let me just erase that right there and go simple. My name. A-Z. No, I don't like that. A-Z-I-Z-A-K.
Okay, I'm recording.
I-B-I-B-I.
Hey. I'm Aziza Kibibi and welcome back to my channel. This video, we're going to talk about having doubt in yourself. Now, considering the things that I have been through in my life, I know all about self-doubt. But before we get into that, if you could please do me the generous favor of hitting that like button, hitting that subscribe button, sharing this video, if you like it, of course, because you know I want honesty. I'm going to be honest with you. I want you to be honest with me. And go down in the comments and tell me what you think. It doesn't have to be a favorable comment. I mean, that would be nice, that would be sweet, but I'm a realist. I understand that not everything is for everybody. And especially when you are on a public platform like YouTube, you expose yourself to the criticisms and the opinions of others. But you know what they say about opinions? They are like assholes. Everyone's got one. Okay, so I'm just gonna get right to it. I won't keep you very long. Just to reintroduce myself a little bit, I kind of have to do that for every time I make a video because this video might come across someone that does not know me. As I said before, I am Aziza Kibibi and I am an author, an activist, a chef, a mom, a media personality, a writer, and a survivor of many years of different forms of abuse at the hands of my father. I grew up isolated. I was homeschooled. I did not have many friends because, of course, to keep the secret, my dad made sure that me and my siblings and I did not interact with other people and didn't get a clear perspective of what normal behavior and the way normal families function. Now, I use that term normal very loosely because norms are created based on an agreement between the people of a social structure. So what is considered normal in, let's say, an American family may not be what's considered normal for an Italian family in Italy. What's considered normal for a Black family may not be considered normal for a white family, so on and so forth. You get the point. Well, I would say that my family dynamic was so out of the ordinary that it violated laws. Long story short, I did not escape my father until I was 24. It resulted in 4 children by him. And he is now serving 90 years in prison for what he did to me. All of that being said, imagine being 24 years old, having your children taken away from you and placed in foster care. You know very little about the ins and outs and the going-ons of the world. And you are placed in the middle of the world having to fight to get your children back because I love my children. It didn't matter that they were a result of trauma. It didn't matter that one of them had health challenges. I was their mom and they were a blessing to me. So I worked to get them back out of foster care. There was no way I was going to give that up. Now, in order for me to do that, I had to take huge leaps of faith, build an enormous amount of confidence in a very short period of time, and take a lot of risks. And yes, I had to take some huge risks because not only was my own life in the balance, not only was my children's lives in the balance, but my mother's life and the lives of my siblings was also in the balance. So it was tough as a young person, as a young mom, trying to figure out how the rest of the world worked, how that world impacted me, though technically I had not been a part of it for most of my life, and also what effect that I had on the world. And that honestly just took some experimentation. Now, unfortunately, I did not have the luxury of getting to know myself before I put myself out there into a world. I was in a huge amount of urgency. My conditions was just urgent. I had to get my children back. I had to completely cut all ties with my dad, figure out a way how we was going to report him. There was just a lot of things, a lot of unsureties, a lot of things that I just had not enough information for to make educated or strategic decisions. And that brings me to my point, to the title of this video. If you have ever doubted yourself, just know that there is someone out there who are in circumstances that are so detrimental to the people in their lives, yet they have to make decisions that would not only affect their lives, but all the lives of the people around them, yet they have to make those decisions anyway. So I'll give you an example. Because all of my children was born at home, my father delivered all of my children. Remember, that was a part of the secret. No one could know that a 15-year-old girl was pregnant and just having babies back to back with no boyfriends or no friends to speak of. So my father delivered all of my children at home. I mean, he had already delivered many of my siblings at home, so that was just his thing anyway. So of course, continuing with the family tradition, he delivered my children as well. Though, you know, everything that I mentioned before, all of these underlying reasons why it was even more important for him to deliver my children at home, all of those were true. At the same time, it was a form of control because my children did not have birth certificates. That meant they were not recognized by the American government. They did not have social security numbers. That meant they were not tracked by the American government. And when you are not recognized and you are not tracked, technically you don't exist. And my father used that. He said that, well, because many of my siblings, as well as my children, did not exist according to the American government, he could do anything that he wanted to do to them if we were to fight back against him. And no one would care because there's no record of them. Fast forward, 25 years old, children in foster care. One of the things that DCP&P, at the time known as DIFIS, Social Services here in New Jersey, they required, one of the things that I had to complete and achieve to get my children back was to get their social security numbers and their birth certificates. Now, when a child is born in the hospital, that paperwork is done. There are witnesses. There's a doctor that delivered the baby, the nurses that took care of the mom. There are people there to vouch and say that this baby was born at this time, born this sex, so on and so forth. And that is what a birth certificate is. It's a record of birth and the conditions surrounding that birth. Then a social security number is applied for, normally by someone, one of the faculty in the hospital or a nurse. So since my children were born at home, none of that was done. Now, if you are an adult in the United States of America, and you lose your social security card, you have to show up with all of these proofs of information to allow.
I don't know that.
I wasn't talking to you. You have to show, well, I know. You have to show up with all of these proofs that this person is a U.S. citizen and was born in the U.S. to apply for a social security number. One of those proofs is a birth certificate. So if you want to get a social security number, then, and you have to have a birth certificate, but you don't have a birth certificate, which you need for your social security number, what do? I had no clue. And apparently, all of the powers that be had no clue either. So here I am, young girl, trying to get not only a social security number, but also a birth certificate. And the organization, the government agency in America, is called Vital Statistics. They record births, deaths, and marriages. They did not know how to help me get a birth certificate for children that were at the time 2, 7, and I think 5. Yeah, my children, 2, 7, and 5 years old. Because technically there was no one there to witness their births. Anyway, long story short, I will save you all of the details. I didn't have the information. I did not even think I had the mental capacity to do this. And all of these people who supposedly knew more than me, which is the lady behind the glass window who's telling me everything that I need in order to get a social security number for my children, they didn't know how to do what I needed to do. So how can I have faith in my ability when the people of authority who knows more about the process of how to do these things don't even know themselves? I ended up being very honest. I stood outside of the glass window that separated me from the Social Security agent, and I laid myself bare. I told her everything about my situation. I cried and I begged her and I said, "Ma'am, my children were taken away from me while escaping my father. My father is their father, and now I have to get social security numbers and birth certificates, and this is all I had." And the only thing that I had were some receipts to prove that I lived in the place that I lived at the time that I had my children. I had some paperwork, some vaccine cards that was given to me by my caseworker. And here I am trying to put all of these pieces together. And what ended up finally helping me make any progress in the situation was being honest with this woman. Now, thank God that she was receptive. Thank God and my guardian angels and my ancestors that she had compassion for my situation and could recognize that really there was no other way for me to get social security cards for my children, because what was needed just simply didn't exist. So that was so eye-opening for me. It was eye-opening because it was a turning point in how I saw the rest of the world. It was a turning point in me recognizing that so many of the things that my father had taught me to keep me ignorant were not true. And it was a turning point within myself because a decision that I had made was actually helping. It was playing out. It seemed to be in that moment manifesting what I needed to do. And it did. The woman said to me, "Ma'am, come back here." And she opened the door. She said, "Go to that door and come in the back." And she typed up on the computer and she put all of the information based on my words and the paperwork that I did have, which some of it did include court records from one of my more recent hearings, status hearings. I had to go to court like every few months to give an update and status of. Okay, so my camera died. My camera battery died. Where was I? Shit, where was I? Oh, the woman at the Social Security office, she used the information that I gave her, which had included some court records of status hearings that I was required to attend, so that the judge and DCP&P could see my progress and determine if I was, what is the word? And determine,
Qualified?
Yeah, I think qualified and essentially worthy of getting my children back. And I think that helped a lot. You know, I essentially just gave her everything that I had, and none of it was on her list. None of it was on her list of what was required in order to get a social security card. So she's typing. She wasn't saying much to me, and I'm sitting there and I'm like, oh my gosh, what's gonna happen? And she said, you'll receive your kids' social security cards in 2 to 3 weeks. I broke down in tears and I thanked her. I wish I remembered her name, because you know when you run into people just for a brief moment, they touch your life and they make such an impact on your life. And I think about her, and I have her face in my mind. I remember what she looks like, but I don't think I ever got her name. So, you know, if there is anyone out there that used to work for the Social Security office in 2004, 2005, around that area, who in East Orange, New Jersey, who ran into a young girl trying to get social security cards for her children who are in foster care, please reach out to me. I would love to talk to you and thank you again, because I ended up using those social security cards to then get birth certificates for my children. And those 2 pieces of paper, me achieving those 2 goals, was so instrumental in getting my children back. And I'm really grateful. You know, we think about, I hear people complaining about others so much. Other people, you know, someone who had an attitude at the supermarket, or a family member that's just being a bitch or an ass that day. And we don't talk enough about the people that have a positive impact, that help you through a difficult situation, that was there to just listen, that are part of an audience that gives you words of encouragement, or small acts of kindness, or a smile when you're having a bad day. We don't talk about those people enough, you know? And we need to talk to each other about the people that compile the little moments of joy and kindness that contribute to your everyday life and the quality of your everyday life. So I'm gonna try and dry up here. So I guess I don't know what my kids are doing outside. I don't know if y'all caught that. Okay, let me go clean up my face. Okay, I'm back. So I say all of that, I shared all of that to essentially say, if you are ever having moments, days when you are feeling low, when you are doubting yourself, when you think that, you know, you can't do something, or you can't even get up out of bed, just remember that you have the power, you have the energy. Just remember that you have the power, you have the energy, you have the capabilities to change someone's life. And it could be just as simple as doing your job, but doing your job with compassion and with kindness can really change someone's entire life. Just like that woman at the Social Security office that heard a wild tale about a girl who had escaped her father after being molested and abused for years and was now trying to get her children back. So just keep that in mind. you have the potential to change someone's life. And I think the more that we go out with intention, with the intention of having a positive impact on others, then the happier we will be. We as individuals, if we have the intention to have a positive effect on the world, we will draw that positivity to us. And that's where the laws of attraction end up working for us. So yeah, if you're ever doubting yourself, just know that you have the potential to change someone's life for the better with one simple act. And I think if you keep that in mind, you will manifest it, and then you'll realize that there's no reason to doubt yourself. Because even in those moments of fear, even in those moments of insecurity, all of that is in your head. All of that is in your head. That is a decision that you have made to succumb to the fear and anxiety and unsurety. So just make the decision to understand and recognize that those are feelings, and feelings can be overcome. They are there for a reason. Fear is there for a reason. It's there to help protect us, but we have the ability to overcome that fear, to do things in spite of that fear. And you may be afraid to do something, and I do feel like, from my own experience, the things that we are most afraid to do are the things that are going to be the most impactful to the world and to the life of others and to your own life. So, on that note, that's all for today. If you're doubting yourself, just remember you can have a positive impact on someone else's life. And in turn, that positivity will manifest in your own life. And the doubt doesn't matter. So, I'm Aziza Kibibi. Be blessed, for you are a blessing. Bye.
If it's love, I want everything. Touch my soul, touch my heart, don't judge my mental. They told me that life is simple, been real since Papa Pimple. I started out in the rental, sonata, the presidential. Speak once and listen twice. They told me that less is simple. I'm observing in the room, I be flying all on the wall.